on Bitcoin, okay? So here's where we got to be very careful on Bitcoin, okay? I'm telling you, we are at the extremes of where we could... Look. This is an issue right here, okay? So here's your bull market trend line on Bitcoin, okay? So we leave the bear market reaccumulation range. Here's our low, and this is when the bull market started on Bitcoin, okay? So again, this is just what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at levels, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. What are we doing here? So we go into this bear market trend line, okay? Every time we wick down on it, we pump back up. Cool. All right. So we come back down. We retest this trend line. What happens here? We'll go on a lower time frame. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. We're just looking at levels here. All right. So here's their bull market trend line. Okay. This is a very important trend line. Okay. Tag it. Tag it. We're saved. We're good. We're good. Tag it. We're saved. We're good. We're good. What happened here? This is what I'm looking at. This is why I make the decisions I've been making. Okay. Got to be honest with ourselves. Confluence. What happened here? We lose the trend line and we get a what? A capitulation. Nuke. Nuke. This is on the daily. We can even look at it on like the 6 hour. All right. We lose the trend line. This is a major trend line. This is a bull market trend line from back in 2023. We lose it and we nuke hard off of it. Nuked hard. Look at what happened here. Okay. Look what happened here. We closed below it. And now we're nuking off of it again. Okay. That's not good. That's not good. Okay. So if we look at this from a completely unbiased probability perspective, okay, it could be one of two things. I'm just looking at the chat real quick. J-Work said it's making lower highs, but it doesn't necessarily mean a reversal, question mark. It still has not broke previous low. Correct. So you got to protect these lows. If we're going to get a reversal here, you cannot continue to make lower lows than this. And this is what I was talking about, that razor thin line that we're at right now with markets, where I'm still optimistic bullishly because of the tariffs and what's going on with tariffs. But I'm looking at this as this is not good, okay? Because the reality is we did just reject perfectly. I mean, this is not, I've had this, you guys saw me do it. Look, all I did with the trend line was unhide it. All I did was click that. I've had this trend line drawn for a week plus now. Okay. So way before this price action took place. All I did was boom, right? I didn't even move it, didn't massage it, nothing. This trend line is clearly being respected. And what do we clearly do here? We rejected off of the trend line. We created a lower high. I mean, lower low, lower high. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Right? So, you know, you made this low. You're moving back up. You made a lower high here. Lower low, lower high. But then you made a higher high but off the news pump. But then you reject it again. Okay? That's not good. We have to get back up above this trend line for me to be optimistic again. Which, again, it is possible. But just need a quick reclaim. We need a reclaim of this level right here. And so here's how I would draw this. Look at all this consolidation, all this price action right in here. Here's how I would draw this. Right at the top of these. Something like that. This is your overhead supply on Bitcoin. Okay. Okay. Very clear supply zone here. Okay. We came up into the supply. We lost it again. We have to hold these lows. We have to protect these lows, and we have to start grinding back up through this supply zone, and we have to reclaim this trend line. Okay. On the reclaim of that trend line, I'm bullish again. Okay. On the reclaim of that trend line, I'm bullish again. Okay. But I need to see it. I need to see this trend line get reclaimed because this is the first time in the entire bull market that we've lost this trend line. Okay. So that's something I have to be cognizant of. That's something I have to pay attention to because it is the first time that it's happened where we rejected off of it perfectly. Okay. So here's our supply region. We got to get up ahead of this cluster of price action right here. Okay. So we'll see. We just need to hold these lows. You can't keep breaking down and losing these lows again. Otherwise, you're cooked. Okay. So there's still life. We haven't lost these lows, right? So we got, potential double bottom here. Okay. Still life, but we got to come up like this and then reclaim. And then on the reclaim of this trend line, the retest of this trend line, that's where I'm saying, okay, boom. If you're not already positioned, I'm getting back into the market on this trend line. If you get the retest, right? Because right now it was support, turned into resistance. We need to reclaim it, turn it back into support off the pullback, pull back into this region, bang. Now we're going back up higher, okay? So that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. Pretty simple. We can't lose these lows. If you lose these lows, I think we go lower. If you lose these lows, right here, you're coming back down into the infamous range of death, which is so I want it the range. So you're going to come back down. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. This is the previous all-time high support. It could be the bottom. I mean, it could be if we get back up into this because we've front-run the previous all-time high before and sent in the past on Bitcoin. So this was the previous all-time high, right? So we front-ran a little bit. Let me show you somewhere else, another place where that's happened before. I believe it was here. It wasn't a previous all-time high, but it was an area where you front ran at the perfect retest. So look at this. I'm going to show you both cases. So here would have been the perfect retest on Bitcoin in the bear market. People were waiting for this retest during the bear market. So you get this one last capitulation right here. And people were waiting for the retest of this high for that perfect entry at about 13.8 thousand, but they never got it. The lows were right here. Okay. So the optimistic view would be this right here, this front run of this high, the perfect retest. Your hope is that that's what happened right here. You had a front run of this high, this perfect retest. You front ran it, and then you're reversing up higher. Okay, so that's the optimistic view, right? That you front ran it. We're bottoming. That's literally the Pico low. That literally might be the low, which is great. The issue is that we rejected off this trend line. Okay. Yeah, so you can base supply on sideways movement in the price. Yeah, so supply I'm looking at as where was there a clear supply level, right? Supply just means that there was more supply than there was demand, so then the price went lower. Because if you have more supply than demand, you lose price. So where you can see obvious levels of supply building up is where you see a lot of sideways price action. So like consolidation, where it's in what's it called? Consolidation is just a non-consensus on price, or excuse me, it's that consolidation is basically saying we can't decide if price can go higher or lower. There's just enough sellers as there are buyers until you finally lose that level. And if you lose the level, then that means it's a supply zone because there was more supply. That's why you lost the level. If it would have consolidated down here and then we pumped up higher, then this would have been a clear demand zone because we consolidated. Finally, we accepted price up higher because there was more demand for the asset than there was supply. So price goes up. If there's more demand, or if there's more demand that there are supply, then you have to raise the price of the asset.